All right, guys, in today's video, we're gonna talk about why you can't turn through the ball. I had 3 different people come and see me this past week. All 3 of them said they struggle with that same thing, not being able to turn through the hit. All 3 of them had the same exact issue and we fixed it the same exact way. So I wanna show you in today's video, one of the things, one of the little secrets that I showed them that helped all of them that hopefully will help you as well. Now, to start off, I want you to join me here and just stand up if you're watching this so you can do this with me. When you stand up, right, straight up and down like this, your sternum or your chest sits directly on top of your hips. Ideally, right, unless we have something funky on, our chest is right on top of our hips, right? Now, in swing, our chest is going to be some amount forward of our hips, some amount forward. Now, the key to being able to rotate during the downswing and look like some of these players will show on the screen, where at impact, the body's turned towards the target, the right side is tilted down. To get to this position, the key is controlling the relationship of how far forward your chest is from your hips, especially during the downswing. Let me explain what I'm saying. All 3 of the players that came to see me had the same issue in that they had their chest too far forward of their hips, or said differently, their hips too far back of their chest throughout the entire swing, especially at setup and during the backswing. And when you get in that position, like our friend Trevor Salzman says, you're too what we call top heavy, meaning your upper body is too far forward in front of your lower body. And when you're too far forward and you're too top heavy, your brain is always going to counter that during the downswing by doing the opposite, or having your hips kick in and your chest go back. And I want you to try this with me. If you stand up like this normal, try and kick your hips into the golf ball and turn towards the target at the same time. So try and get your hips in and turned. In and turned. It's goofy. It's like very difficult to do. As soon as your hips kick in this way, it's very difficult to turn towards the target. And that is why most of you can't turn through the ball, is because your hips are kicking too far in during the downswing. But the reason your hips are kicking too far in during the downswing is likely they're too far back earlier on. I'm going to show you how to fix that in just a moment. So now when we kick our hips in, try and kick your hips in and turn. Very difficult. Now, if I stand here and let your hips push back and try and turn, hips back and turn, that should start to feel pretty easy. Okay, so we know when my hips kick in, hard to rotate. When my hips kick back, easy to rotate. When my hips kick in, can't rotate, my hips kick back. Okay, so I'm like, okay, I want my hips to kick back, but how the heck do I do that? Well, the key is to put yourself in a position that your body's gonna react by doing that on the way down. I just got done saying these 3 gentlemen set up with their chest way forward, their hips way back, and what did that lead to? That led to this during the downswing, hips in, no rotation. If that's true, that serves to reason if we do the opposite. What if we set up with our chest very much on top of our hips? So this is not that far in front. Can we keep that ratio going back? And then my brain can create hip depth in early transition. There's a great video of Tiger from the top of his swing to early transition where his butt's actually pushing back through the line. He's creating that depth in early transition. Now, at the end here, I'm going to show you the drill that I gave all 3 of them, but I want to show you the feels that we did. So set up normal like this, just stand tall with your chest right on top of your hips here. And I want you to put this club kind of where it's going to represent your sternum or chest location. So the more I bend over, right this way, the more my chest is clearly in front of my hips. What I want your setup to look like is I want you to feel like your chest, it's going to be in front of your hips, but as little as possible. I'm going to show you a routine on how to do that in a minute. So if my chest stays on top of my hips at setup, meaning I feel like I'm as close to this as possible. I'm as close to standing up. I'm going to bend my knees and round over a little bit, and I'll show you how to do this. But this is the key concept. The chest and hips feel like it's as close as possible. Not way different, okay? Now, if I can set that up at setup, and then another big key is during the backswing, keep my chest and hips feeling like they're more on top of each other. Then I've got the most space to create this going down. Now, I know not every player does this that rotates well, but for guys, if you're watching this, like these 3 guys that came in and really struggle with this for a long period of time, and you get to impact where you have no turn, you're standing up, you're stuck, you're inconsistent, you want to exaggerate these feels just to find middle ground, okay? So I'm going to take my setup. I want my chest to be as close to my hips as possible. I'll show you how to do this in a drill in a minute. And I'm going to feel like my chest and hips stay right on top of each other. I'm not making my chest and hips get much farther on the way back, right? That's going to lead to the same thing. So I'm starting this way, hips and chest more on top. I'm staying that way, and then I can create some of that hip depth when I go down. Chest more on top of the hips, keep it on top, and then create depth. Beautiful. And you should feel like when you do that, because your hips are forward, because when you set up, your hips are more underneath you and your body's right on top, it's very easy to be able to create that space. Guys like Ben Hogan will show on here. Taller, a little bit more rounded, create a lot of space when you go down, right? George Gank is a guy who used to talk about this a lot. So upper body right on top of lower body, keep it on top on the way back, and then create the space when you come down. On top, stay on top, create it when I come down. Now, when we were going through that with these 3 students, there was one little feel I added in. If you pull up, we pull up like Max Homa, Tommy Fleetwood, Victor Hovland at impact, you notice that at impact, obviously their bodies turn towards the target, but you also really see that right side crunch, right? So their rotation and side bend, body towards the target, right side down. So I like to think that my right rib cage is going to point down towards the ball. It's going to get closer to the ground and point down towards the ball. So what we were kind of feeling as we were going through this is, hey, let's control the ratio of our chest to hips. We don't want our chest way in front of the hips ever till the downswing. Let's do that. But let's also feel as we're creating depth in transition, like that right side, that right rib cage is pointed down towards the golf ball. That's the feel. So chest on top of the hips. We're going to stay on top. Let that right rib cage go through. Beautiful. And there's another really solidly struck iron shot. So I want you to try this out for yourself if you're someone who can't get through the ball. So for me, the key in my own swing with this too was really to imagine and visualize that chest, the difference between my chest and hips, if they were pretty close to the same at the top, I really feel like that Tiger video in early transition, that I'm really changing that. I'm really getting my chest forward, really getting my hips back. I feel like I'm creating a huge differential. Now it feels like my chest is way forward of my hips, but I feel that like right away early in the downswing. So the whole point of me keeping things on top of each other and for those guys is to be able to feel that in early transition. Most everyone I coach in person, these 3 gentlemen, literally probably hundreds to 1,000 people online with the same issue. You can't turn because your hips go too far in. You need to have the hips go back, but setting up and getting there is the key. And as you're doing that, you just want to feel, I gave them a little feel like this, have the right palm pointed at the ball. When you come down and feel the hips creating depth, right? Feel that little right rib cage pointed at the ball. The right side's crunched down a little bit. I'll do one more and then I'll show you the drill I gave them. So the hips are under, stay under, create depth. Okay, so the drill that I gave them, and this is how you can check yourself at home to make sure you get the setup pieces correct, upper body more on top of the lower. Take your setup and get yourself about 1 fist away from an object. I've got a little club box here. You can use a chair, golf bag, wall, person, something behind you. Get your butt 1 fist away. Okay, now here's the key. I want to be able to get down to the golf ball without my butt hitting the wall. And that fist, again, is the distance that we have to play with here, because we want your hips more on top of your feet so your chest can stay on top, so we can create that depth on the way down. So from here, I like to hold the club up. This is how we did it. And I said, okay, let's bend your knees a little bit and round over from the top. Now notice I can get down to the golf ball here and my butt is still away from the box. So normal setup, 1 fist away. And I've got my heel kind of the same thing, right? So my heel, you can check it this way too. Just heel about 1 fist away. Slight bend of the knees, round of the torso. So I'm getting down to the ball without my butt kicking so far back. Again, thanks to George, who I learned this from. Now I've got space here. I don't want to make my backswing and push my hip really far back into it right away, because now what? My chest is in front of my hips again. I'm going to react the other way. So I want to keep what I set up here. So the space that I have, I got about 2 fingers here now. I want to make my backswing and actually keep that same space. My upper body's on top of my lower body. I can still side bend here, Okay, I don't need to have my body go way down. I can still side bend here. Now the key when I come down, I could push back into that with my hips and probably with this box actually push it over. Let's see here. So, okay, upper on top of the lower. We're gonna create depth. We know to turn, we need to create hip depth. Okay, we wanna do it on the way down. Knee bend, round over. Now I've got space. I'm gonna try and keep that and then create that and hit that on the way down. You might feel like you're a little closer to the ball compared to normal when you do this. Beautiful. So there we go. So I got a little auditory with the drop down there too. If you've got a wall behind you, right, you just want to be able to hit into that wall or feel something when you're starting down. Okay, one more here. So fist, knee bend, round down. A lot of this round is coming from the middle part of my back through my neck, not bending over as much from the hips. Upper body feels like it's on top of the lower body. It's going to stay on, and then I'm going to create that depth when I come down. Yeah, beautiful. Did I hit the box? I hit the box, didn't fall over that time? Okay, so this is the drill that you can use at home to be able to create that when you start down. All right, guys, so hopefully you enjoyed this one. Big concept, like I said, literally 3 people in 1 week, same exact drill. They thought I'd just give one golf lesson all day, but they just had the same issues. And a lot of the players that we work with online with the same thing. So if you struggle to get through it, understand that where your upper is relative to your lower body is going to dictate what you do on the way down. And if your hips are moving in towards the ball, you're never going to be able to turn really well. So do you need to do this drill? Probably, if you have those issues, but to confirm it, right? And I want for you what I had. I struggled with my golf game with things like this for a long time until I got a really good coach, plan, and accountability. And that's what I want for you at cogornogolf.com. Send your swings in, let us fix those issues. We'll analyze it. Hey, these are the main 2 things. These are the drills, this amount of reps. This is what you need to do next. In my own game, made a huge difference. I know it will for you as well. Any questions at all, leave a comment down below. As always, appreciate you guys watching.